Grts News, I am Samuel Bah.
A team from Global Fund International is currently in the country to negotiate the renewal of 2 grants earmarked for the National Aid Secretariat and Action Aid, the Gambia. And in what was quite a busy day, the Vice President received the outgoing head of the Methodist Mission in the Gambia, retired Reverend Professor W. Peter Stephens, and his successor, Reverend Hannah Fall. Samuel Bah again.
Is one of the oldest Christian denominations in the country, tracing its origin way back in the colonial days. The church has over the years grown and currently boasts of scores of followers across the country. For a church that has inspired the lives of generations of Gambians in the area of education and agriculture, it is not out of place that the government of the day be informed as to the changes being effected to the leadership structure. It was a farewell courtesy call on the state's number 2 by Reverend Professor W. Peter Stephens of the Gambia Methodist Church, marking the successful completion of a 2-year term of duty to his faithfuls in the Gambia.
The formal relations with Muslims have been excellent. Our relations with the Imam Ratib and the Supreme Islamic Council, whom we meet from time to time simply to show the fact that we don't have to meet because there's a crisis, as, for example, at present in Nigeria. We meet because we can celebrate our enjoyment of each other and our mutual affection and care, and the fact that we are committed to seeing that the good relations that exist continue. And in that we are indebted both to the Muslim leaders, but also, I think, one must say, to the government, which the President and Vice President and the government are deeply committed to having a peaceful, harmonious Gambia, which is an example, one would have to say, to the whole world of how people can live together.
The retired bishop, who is no stranger in the Gambia, even before he rose to his position, could not hide his impressions on the level of religious tolerance. The outgoing bishop will be replaced by Gambian-born Reverend Hannah Fall Hem. In a separate but similar development, a team of Global Fund experts also made it to the office of the Vice President and Minister for Women's Affairs. Their mission is to brief her on the negotiations for the renewal of 2 grants for the National Aid Secretariat and Action Aid, the Gambia.
It was a courtesy visit to Her Excellency the Vice President. We are here this week in the Gambia to negotiate 2 grants for the HIV program, one for the National AIDS Secretariat and one for the Action Aid. So we wanted to brief Her Excellency on the advancement of the negotiation and to also brief her on some issues that we wanted her to be aware.
It has been a busy day at the State House, with the Vice President having had fruitful discussions with the country's development partners. Samuel Bah, GRTS.
The Minister of Health and Social Welfare has completely overhauled the management of the Royal Victoria Teaching Hospital. The move follows the condemnation of unethical practice by staff of the country's main referral center in a media release issued by the ministry. Fatou Jasseh has more on that.
Social Welfare issued a press release frowning upon what it calls an unsatisfactory practice by staff of the country's leading referral hospital, RVTH. After several concerns over the behavior of staff in handling patients at the Royal Victoria Teaching Hospital, the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare has come up with necessary measures to restore standards to the expectations of the general public. These include the complete overhaul of the entire RVTH management.
We have decided as a ministry to intervene and basically restructure and overhaul the management system at the RVTH. And we have also decided to redeploy and reshuffle some of the staff in certain departments. Now, we understand that there's a lot of pressure in working at RVTH, but yet still the quality healthcare should not be compromised. As a result, we have decided that some of the staff who have not perhaps been meeting up the expectations should change environment and work elsewhere while we identify harder working nurses around the regions to come in and fill in these gaps.
As the country's main referral hospital, the ministry deems it fit to reconstitute the RVTH Board of Management in a bid to ensure proper and effective monitoring and supervisory mechanisms in all health facilities.
I, as the Director of Health Service, with my team of experts, that is Chief Pharmacist, the Director of Laboratory, the Chief Nursing Officer, Deputy Director of Health Service, Chief Public Health Officer, will be very more than frequenting to RVTH. now and ever, even if things are settled, we will be more than frequenting to that place to see for ourselves. And I think very soon the general public will see a change in the whole scenario at that tertiary hospital.
Minister Baji also affirms her ministry's commitment to providing quality, affordable and accessible healthcare service to the general public. She disclosed that they are in the process of setting up complaint box at the RVTH.
We have complaint boxes that we will start putting up in some major health facilities, starting with the RVTH. And we hope that some of these complaints will be brought to our attention. We know that some of them have had serious and various experiences. But at times it would be funny to know that we wouldn't get it through the right channels. And we want to have that relationship with the people, and we want to be accessible to the people, and we want the people to know that they can also access us. That's why we have called for this press release to respond to the public outcry.
The government of the Gambia continues to play high premium on the health sector, and with these measures now in place, it is hoped that they will impact positively on the country's healthcare delivery. For Grts News, I am Fatou Jassi.
Members of the association that brings together farmers who grow the highly resilient Narika rice variety and officials of the project are making efforts to preserve the gains made by the intervention when it phases out. Officials mandated to run the North Bank Region Narika Farmers Association and those tasked to implement the project at national level recently held a meeting in the central Badibu village of Salikenya. Mohamed Lamin sees a picture of the rest of that story.
It was a short but fruitful audience with Chief Fafanding Kinte. At Daruyalal, it was an exciting experience, a tumultuous welcome and an unusual generosity for the Regional Narika Farmers Association's executive. But in the central Badibu village of Salikenya, it was a big meeting of Narika farmers. Participants were drawn from both Salikenya and surrounding villages. The purpose, to sensitize, familiarize and discuss the sustainability and commercialization mechanisms. Addressing the meeting, the president of the NBR Narika Rice Farmers Association, Sambu Damfa, called on the farmers to prepare for the revolutionization of rice cultivation. This, he said, is possible when the association is decentralized all over the region. Such a move, he went on, will enable Narika farmers to mobilize resources, both human and material, to sustain and commercialize Narika even after the pull-out of the donors. The Regional Narika Rice Farmers Executive has been touring the 7 chiefdoms in NBR, but the meeting here in Salikenya is the biggest. That is justified because Salikenya alone in the last rainy season put 1,550 hectares of Narika rice under cultivation. However, they did not regret going as far as that. They have been provided a standard storage facility and a brand new milling machine.
The boost is that rice production generally requires a lot of equipment and infrastructure. This is a civil infrastructure, the drying floor, because it's very essential that the rice must, after harvesting, it must be dressed and it must be dried and winnowed. So this floor is to give that incentive to the farmers. And the store, obviously, once you clean your rice, whether the paddy or milled, is the place for storage.
Alassane Ba is the regional focal person of the Narika project. He is convinced that when the region is fully sensitized to the existence and the potentials of the association, a big gain can be made.
Even it can be more than that of Basse, because the people here, they are very, very much committed. They are very, very much committed farmers, and they are very much interested in Narika production. Because now what we have observed, because normally or in previous years, Narika or rice production is mostly done by the women folk.
However, I ask whether the Basse success, big as its magnitude, can be replicated. The success registered by similar associations in Basse is the obvious inspiration behind the springing up of regional Narika rice farmers associations. In Basse, $5 million has been saved. In addition, 3 tractors were purchased and 30 farmers sent on a study tour to Bamako and Nyono in Mali. NBR want a similar development, but they may just have to begin with this.
One, to decentralize the association, to sustain the Narika project, and to commercialize the Narika cultivation. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. The $2 million Narika project is a popular one. The first phase has ended, but there are hopes of a second one. It is that 5-year second phase that Narika farmers want to see well spent. Modula Msise, Grts News.
You can follow that story and other GRTS programs live on our website at www